Good morning and welcome to virtual PLU and the 10th Biennial Wang Symposium, Healing Pathways to Restoration and Renewal. Before a brief introduction to this two-day online event and related to the topic of trauma and healing, I will begin with two statements. First, as an academic community, Pacific Lutheran University acknowledged that it sits upon the traditional lands of the Nisqually, Puyallup, Squaxin Island, and Steilacoom peoples. We recognize that as an institution, we have enjoyed the benefits of settling in these fertile lands. We respect the traditional caretakers of this land and seek justice and restored opportunities for the First Nations moving forward. Second, with regard to the ongoing invasion of Ukraine by Russia, and as an academic institution affiliated with the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America, PLU and the Wang Center are committed to fervently educate and advocate for peace. Moreover, and in quoting from ELCA's interfaith call to peace in the Ukraine, we remain deeply concerned for the impact of this ongoing conflict on innocent civilians throughout Ukraine, and call on all parties to the conflict to take every measure possible to protect civilians and renew efforts to de-escalate this threat to international peace and security. All our religious traditions call us to pray and work for peace. We join our voices and hands together. We must open our eyes to those who are suffering, and we cannot remain indifferent to the injustice this conflict has brought on the people of Ukraine and that may bring pain to other people in neighboring countries. And now for a brief introduction. This gathering invites us to engage the concept of healing understood in the broadest sense as, and I quote, healing as an intervention, an outcome, and a process, and at times all three. It also describes an ability to, or power, energy, and cleansing of grief, trouble, or evil. The concept is relevant in a wide range of disciplines, including medicine, nursing, psychology, public health, education, religion, and spirituality. Healing occurs in multiple dimensions: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, familial, social, communal, and environmental. Healing occurs at multiple levels, from the micro level as cellular wound healing to the macro level as in national and global healing. And this is from an NIH document. The choice of healing as a topic for this symposium emerged during the 9th Biennial Symposium 2 years ago in spring of 2020, which was focused on the phenomenon of polarization. As I reflected on options for the next symposium's theme, I thought it ought to be on a topic that would bring forth ideas and practices about how to bridge the great divides brought about by polarization. Then this symposium, the one on polarization, quite literally became the last major event that preceded the pandemic. Indeed, on Sunday, March 8th, a few days after the conclusion of the symposium, PLU would be closed down and moved to remote learning and working due to the pandemic for almost 2 years. The topic of healing soon took on more urgency, as well as more meaning, dimension, and relevance, as both within the United States and around the globe, we were forced to reckon with old and deep wounds around such issues as institutional racism, police brutality, ongoing tensions and crisis at the US-Mexican border and border crossings worldwide, precipitated climate change and its consequences, wildfires, droughts, floods, devastating hurricanes and tornadoes, in addition to chronic health inequities, opioid addictions, and an unprecedented mental health crisis, as well as over 6 million pandemic-related deaths, many of which could not be mourned, leaving untold more with unprocessed grief. In line with past Wang symposia, this one is purposefully interdisciplinary and global in reach. From the Wang Center's founding, the expectation has been that the Wang Center Symposium serve the entire PLU community and address an issue of world concern. The underlying assumption, of course, is that the issues that the event addresses and its possible solutions, crimes against humanity, migration, polarization, resilience, will require the wisdom of many disciplines and seasoned practitioners. Healing is no exception. The global health crisis we have all experienced, for example, cannot be resolved through the sciences and health professions alone. The societal, cultural, psychological, economic, political consequences of the pandemic require a more comprehensive and interdisciplinary approach, beginning with the healing dimensions of storytelling, for example, which is the domain of the humanities, of historians, and of artists of all kinds. As an event designed to serve the entire PLU community, finally, the goal is to create a forum for a conversation that is both interdisciplinary and global in reach, during which audience members and symposia presenters are invited to see connections between situations and events related to healing broadly understood, and invite discussions across disciplines to explore paths going forward. I sincerely hope the lineup of speakers and panels we have assembled for you during this two-day event will stimulate this kind of thinking and rethinking as we see pathways for restoration and renewal. In closing, I wish to express my deep gratitude first to the generous sponsors of this event, mainly the Benson Family Foundation, PLU's Diversity Center, PLU's Gender, Race, and Sexuality Studies Interdisciplinary Program, PLU's Social Work Program, and the Dale Benson Lecture in Economic History. Second, a sincere thank you to the members of the 10th Biennial Wang Center Symposium Planning Team for their time, their creative thinking, direction, ongoing moral and logistical support, and essential resources, all of which that have made this event possible. These include, but are not limited to, Rosemary Reynolds, Chief Logistics and Administrative Guru, and the Wang Center student workers, Sarah Calvin-Stupel and Alex Johnson, for their support in shaping this event, along with the extraordinary staff of PLU's Wang Center for Global and Community Engaged Education. I also want to thank the team from PLU Marketing and Communications and the Office of Advancement, PLU Conferences and Events, Residential Life, the Office of the Provost, Nicole Giuliano of PLU's Diversity Center, and my extraordinary faculty colleagues, David Simpson, Michael Halverson, Jenny James, Holly Zen, that were part of the planning team, as well as other faculty and PLU students that you will have the opportunity to meet today as they introduce our speakers or as participants of our featured PLU faculty panels. Last and not least, a special shout out to Travis Pagel and John Strusenberg of PLU's Instructional Technologies team, who are actively working behind the virtual curtain this morning, all day today and tomorrow, and without whom this online event would not have been possible. This concludes my introduction to the 10th Biennial Wang Symposium. Again, it is a true pleasure to welcome all of you to this virtual forum. Please stay tuned, and within a few minutes, my colleague, Dr. Ana Leon Guerrero, Professor of Sociology at PLU, will welcome our first presenters, Eamon Baker and Maureen Hetherington, both from Derry, Northern Ireland, who will present Testimony, Moving Society Out of the Shadows of the Past. Thank you very much and enjoy this two-day event.